Just after I graduated high school, I went to World Youth Day in Paris. It was the first time I went out of the country, so I got to see Rome, I got to see Florence, of course Paris, where the World Youth Day was. And Assisi was another important place that we got to see. I didn't really know anything about St. Francis at that time. But later on in that trip, I was going to confession, and the priest asked me if I'd ever considered being a priest. And at that moment, I had never considered it, actually. But I did start to consider it, and then I started college, and that feeling went away a little bit. I graduated with a degree in computer science and math, but it was about the time that the .com bubble burst. I was left with not as many choices as they had told me that there was going to be for this kind of job. So I did some various jobs, and eventually I started doing maintenance work for the church I grew up in. As I was working in that job, I realized I did not want to be sitting in front of a computer all day, and that was not what I was called to do. But I did feel that God had given me some gifts with math and science and those kind of things, and so I started to consider how God might use that. I also started waiting tables and realized I liked being with people a lot, so I thought, maybe I'll be a doctor. So I went back to school and started to do prerequisites for medical school. I took the MCATs and applied to some places. I didn't get in, but as I was helping out with the youth group at the same church, we were having Eucharistic adoration that night. And I was just asking God what he wanted for my life because I had done this logically and wasn't sure about that, but also relationships and just the various things in my life was uncertain about and kind of felt a little bit lost. And so in that moment, the idea of the priesthood came into my head. And at first I pushed it away and was like, no, I considered that when I was younger, but it came back again. And I asked the question, is that what you want for my life? And then there's just this moment where there's this opening up of my mind to see that that's what I had been searching for all along. There's a great peace that came about, and then it took a little while for me to figure out where I was going to pursue that. John Paul II was pretty big in my life, and so I thought about being a diocesan priest. But of course, the experience in Assisi when I was younger was important as well. But I'd also done some work with the poor, and we had a program where we would provide meals for the homeless. I also worked at Annunciation, which is a parish that the Capuchins run, doing an after-school program for the middle schoolers. So it just seemed like my life intersected with the Capuchins in some ways. And so after some come and sees, it felt like the right place for me. And over time that became true, that the more I learned about the Capuchins, the more I learned about the Franciscan charism, the more I saw that it really fit me very well. And that was about 11 years ago now that I started that journey, and I was just ordained about a year and a half ago, and God's still doing incredible things in my life, and I look forward to the future that he has for me.